Hello, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation. And my guest today is Mark M.Tillinger. He is an author who explores the complexity of human emotions and memories. With a passion for storytelling, Mark crafts narratives that resonate on a deep human level. His work often examines how our past shapes who we are today, blending rich characters with emotional depth and thought provoking themes. He's the author of the book, The Past Captures Us Forever, a collection of 9 stories selected over time. So, this is my brief introduction to you, Mark. And I usually make it much more brief, but for some reason, I really like the way it was written because this is something that I value a lot: emotions, human depth, and self knowledge. Because that leads
Hmm.
to spiritual knowledge. I'm very much spiritually oriented, so I love that. I love your bio. I already have lots of questions, but the full bio will be at the end. There's a lot more to you. The question that I would like to begin is, how would you introduce yourself? Who is Mark in his own words in this very moment?
Huh. Well, I started out as a performer. I sang from a very early age and was singing professionally by the time I was maybe 13, 14. Then into acting and moved to New York City. But eventually I became a writer. I found that I was more in tune with writing my own thoughts down and sharing those thoughts than
Right.
acting out the thoughts of someone else.
Mm,
And I just found that that was a better path for me, a clearer path, and more to my liking.
right. Do you feel like this is a destiny, some sort of choice, guidance? How did you get
I
to
believe,
be?
I believe it's, I mean, it may be all three.
Right.
Destiny is something that I put aside because I can't really control it. I can't do anything
Mm.
about it. It's either there or it's not. Um,
True.
but the other two, I think is within the realm of your own control. And so I would say that's what I have to say about that.
Right. Yeah. I love the combination of the three, although I have a tendency, I don't know why, to kind of trust more destiny, life itself. It almost feels more, it feels more natural to me, really. Kind of, oh, this happens or this is happening. Okay, that's how God wants. That's how cosmic intelligence wants. Oh, it's okay. So there's something about that. That's what I
Absolutely.
work with. Yeah, I practice to be.
Just because you can't control it doesn't mean that it isn't important or isn't working in your favor.
Right. That is, oh, that's just a beautiful way of seeing it, isn't it? Especially when it's
Hmm.
something that we don't like, that we don't appreciate. Yes.
Well, you know what? We don't appreciate it today, but we may appreciate it tomorrow.
Mm,
And that's how we grow. I mean, if we only appreciated what we appreciated when we were children, we'd still be eating popcorn and kind of running around the streets with no direction at all. But
yeah.
I mean, as you grow and allow yourself, I mean, it's all allowing yourself to grow. It's all being in tune with seeing the avenue in front of you and knowing what's best for you and not getting distracted by things like making money just for the sake of making money or
Mm,
establishing relationships because of what
yes.
they can do for you or
Right.
establishing
Mm,
relationships because
mm,
of the way they make you feel about yourself, rather than finding that all within yourself and within your
mm.
own journey.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love, I mean, I already, I love your work. I love your philosophy. I love your message.
Thank you.
I love the wisdom behind it. It's just so beautiful. Thank you. Yes, it resonates with me deeply, this idea of a non transactional kind of relationship with everything. It's more like this be in touch with something that it's I call aliveness, the sacredness of life. So being when I am in contact with anything, I don't see it as an object. Even when it's like things around me, I feel like they're alive. Everything's alive. Everything's communicating something. It's trying to somehow enhance, kind of almost like put a smile on our face. I really feel that way. Although a lot
Well,
of people don't.
that's a great way to approach life, and if you don't feel that way, when the moments of joy are put in front of you, you may not see them.
That's it. And we have so many, I mean, everything just feels like it's actually calling us for to open up and see, the miracle, the magic of what is the beauty of being alive. It feels that way to me. And I know that suffering can, especially pain, a lot of people who experience pain all the time, physically, emotionally, mentally, then it's much more challenging, my mark, for them to experience joy. And maybe that's why I do what I do, because I'd love to see everyone kind of having that experience of
Absolutely.
appreciation
And
for life.
when people are, I mean, yes, some get an easier journey than others, but
Right.
that doesn't mean that the easier journey is going to lead to the more enriched life.
Mm,
It's all in the approach. Whether you have an easier journey or a harder journey, it's all the choices you make along the way, and the way you look at those choices, the way you look at your life, and the way you will hopefully appreciate whatever you have, because
mm,
to think about what other people have is ridiculous. You don't know what they feel about what they have. You're just projecting your own feelings about it. And none of that is important. The only thing that's important is the choice in
mm,
front of you, and to make a better choice next time, and to be satisfied with that type of evolving.
Oh, Mark, yeah, that's beautiful. Yes, I call it wisdom. Yes, yeah.
Hmm.
And it's so true that some people they don't seem to be on the same path, but I do feel like we are all on the path of growth, right? Somehow we all evolving, maybe not at
Hopefully, I mean, we hope everybody's on that path, but you actually have to choose to be on the path.
uh,
Many people get bogged down in the same type of thought process. They can't get themselves out of that circle, and make the same choices that don't lead anywhere over and over again. When the better choice is probably the easier choice, the one
mm,
that's right in front of them, and they just can't see it. You have to be
yes.
looking for it.
Yeah, that's kind of it's sad to hear that and to accept that as truth, right? That some of us will never evolve.
Well,
Yeah.
when I not to bring it back to the book, because I'll talk about the
Oh no, yeah,
spirituality
we'll
all
talk
day
about.
long, which is, I mean, the whole point is to share and to hopefully exchange ideas. But when I was writing this book, it was so important to me to be able to share who I am,
Mm,
because people talk about AI doing writing, and
right.
I was talking about this with somebody the other day, and I said AI
Yeah.
will never replace the human spirit, the human being. What we have is an individual, singular voice, and
Yeah.
that's what makes the individual valuable, and that will never diminish.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And you're right. I have questions for you about that AI. That's another very interesting subject, fascinating one.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
before that, yeah, let's go back to your book. So, The Past, I love the
Okay.
title too. The Past Captures Us Forever. Talk to me about I love asking this question about the main intention and the purpose of writing this book. Did you set one? And also
Okay.
the title. Love to hear about why the past captures us forever. Why this specific title?
To be very honest, the title was the initial jolt of energy that
Yeah.
set me on this journey. And the past, it just, for whatever reason, the phrase, the future leaves us all behind, the past captures us forever, came to
Mm,
mind. And
mm,
I was thinking about the space time continuum. And we all know that space time is, space and time are one thing, basically. If we were able to move fast enough, which we can't, 186,000
yeah.
miles a second is the speed of light. If we could move faster than that, we would move back in time as well as space. And what that said to me was I was not that involved in time travel. And I mean, it's fun to watch time travel movies, and it's all a
Yes.
kick. But that's not what it meant to me. What it meant to me, the space time continuum was saying, is that everything that's ever existed, everything, the Roman Empire, dinosaurs, this
Mm,
conversation you and I are having right now, It will always exist somewhere in space-time. Nothing ever goes away. And I found that fascinating. So therefore, the future leaves us all behind. The past captures us forever.
Yeah. Wow. That's food for reflection, deep reflection.
I
Uh,
hope.
wow. Because a lot of times we think, I think it's a Buddhist quote that says, if you want to know your present, know your past. If you want to know your
Yes.
future, yeah, look at your present.
And one of the main ideas in the book, or where these stories come from, is the fact that when you look into the past or you look at the present or project into the future, human beings, they seem to react to the same stimuli. It's the same reaction to the same type of input. And those were the themes that I wrote about.
Right. So what does it let me go back because I can go with my spontaneous I'm very curious. So I want to go to my guided questions because I could just
Okay.
off topic.
Like I
Um
told you, it's your show. You go where you want.
thank you. Gosh, you have so many this is just fascinating, this topic, but I wanted to make sure I cover enough about the book. So it's
I
a collection
appreciate
of
that.
9 stories that are selected over time. So why 9 stories again? And where did you how were they inspired by, or how did you elaborate them? I would love to hear about
Well,
these
the,
nine
the
stories.
first chapter of the book, which is not one of the stories, the first chapter is called 20 Betty Whites and You're Back to Jesus.
Mm,
And that is an illustration of how strange time is. So that's where it all began. And that first chapter sets up the concept for the rest of the book, which is a benefactor, with the help of a think tank, creates a project that extends 180 years into the future, where an agent is contracted every 20 years to select a story of some human condition, the human condition, some social relevance, and select a story within that 20-year period. It could be he read it on the internet or heard it in a bar, whatever it may be, something of importance in that 20-year period. So the first story is 2022 to 2042. The second story is 2042 to 2062, and so on, with the last story ending in the year 2202. Now, you asked why 9 stories.
yeah.
There's not a clear answer to that. I mean, 9 is obviously a very powerful number in spirituality.
Yes. Yes.
So that is why the number stuck
Mm,
with me, and I
yeah.
approached the project with that number in mind.
Right.
But I think that it took getting into the actual writing of the stories before I saw or noticed whether that the 9 stories was either going to be enough, was going to be too much, was I
Mm,
extending too far into the future? Because this isn't a science fiction book. And so it's not about the technology per se. I mean, you can't ignore the technology. You can't
right.
write a story 80 years in the future and have somebody turn a key to turn their car on. That just doesn't make any sense. But
Right.
it also doesn't have to be stories about flying cars,
Right.
right? It's stories about people. And people react to the same stimuli the same way they always have. And it's always anger, envy,
Mm,
fear, and
mm,
and of course love, which is what
mm,
binds everything together.
so true. So in a way, it feels like everything's happening within the human experience is always happening simultaneously. I usually think about this almost like parallel timing. Like there's no time really. Everything is happening in this here now. That's kind of it's timeless, spaceless too, and it's just happening because it can, because it can
Well, and if
happen.
and if and if what I just said is true, which supposedly scientifically it is, and everything that ever existed still exists, then you're right. Everything is happening all at the same time.
Yeah,
The
it's
present, the future, and the past. I
right,
mean, that's a
right.
little much to take in, but it's quite possible.
Yes, I it's. there's something about that that really captures me. Using your
Hmm.
word, I love that word, captures me. So I would like to explore more of what you just mentioned about the people reacting, responding to the same stimuli, the same, just pretty much being the same way over time, not changing. Why do you think that is? And aren't we evolving somehow? There's so much healing and spiritual knowledge. Is this all? Are they just stories? Really, they are not really being applied as wisdom.
Okay. I don't want to be negative about that. I mean, I do have a positive take on life in general,
Yeah.
and I hope for the evolvement of the human spirit all the time. Do
Mm,
I think that I do think that through the use of language, through the use of communication, we are taking baby steps.
yeah.
But for somebody like me who knows in his heart that this is so important, it's hard to see things moving at such a snail's pace because you
Mm,
want everything to exist in your lifetime the way you want it to. And you have to let that go because it's not going to happen. That's not the point of
mm,
it. The point of it is you play your part, you make your contribution, and you
mm.
don't worry about the result.
Wow. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. A moment to take that in. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I know most of us who do this work of healing, I am in touch with a lot of therapists and spiritual teachers in this community
Hmm.
of coaching. So everyone has the same goal. They want to see the world a better place, and they really believe and trust that if they do what they do, they keep doing, it will happen somehow. But
You know, I will. I'll bring it back to something that I used in the book. There was a in the first chapter where I just talk about a few different things that I feel, and it is sociological in many ways. Um, I talk about string theorists, and I talk about the fact that my admiration for string theorists. Now, this idea has been in my head for years, and so when I wrote the book, I was able to put it in, and that was very satisfying, as you know.
oh yeah.
But a these string theorists will work their entire lives with no idea truly whether what they're studying actually exists.
Mm,
Now, imagine dedicating your life to that. It
yeah,
is the most courageous, admirable thing a human being can do. Now,
yeah,
I bring that up because we're talking about the same thing.
yeah.
These string theorists, they're not worried about their proofs or their results or solving the problem. They are
Mm,
part of this grand exploration that everybody takes part in with the
mm,
hope that we all get there.
mm.
And so
Wow.
that to be able to put that idea in that, imagine working your whole life without knowing whether what you're doing is even there, but you do it with the faith that you are contributing to something that is bigger than you. And you
Mm,
cannot worry about whether you are going to be the one to solve it. You were part of the
mm.
process, and that's enough.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well, that feels very much like the unified field of consciousness, like in spirituality, we always go back to that. So we are one with life, everything. We're just doing what life wants us to do, and that we're just such a small part, playing a very small part, but very big at the same time because we are conscious of
It's
it.
it, to see you use the word small, and I would say that it's not small.
Mm,
It is it is grand. It is
yeah.
just that we are part of it, not all of it. But that
Yeah.
each part is not small because any part that falls away
Mm,
causes a disconnect.
mm,
And so, when someone falls away, you can't just continue on without them. You have to
right.
reach back and bring them with you.
Right.
Because if everybody doesn't get there, none of us do.
Wow. That's so beautiful. Yeah, that
That
resonates.
that's just now I must say that's just the way I feel about it. I don't know if
Yeah,
everybody would, but I truly do feel that way.
yeah, and it resonates with me. Although I use the word small, it's something that I usually say. I don't say that, but I think humility is very important for me too. It's something that I'm
Yeah.
always very, very aware of. Now, you know what? I'm very, I'm very small
By
doing.
the way, I didn't mean to criticize by picking out the word
No,
small. It was I
no,
just did it to make my point.
yes. Oh, Mark. Yes, I'm very open. I love these conversations. They'll
Me
go
too.
wherever they go. I'm very open. Oh, no, we never have to
Me
apologize.
too.
So, talk to me for a bit because you mentioned faith. I usually use the word trust. Is this just a matter of words, using the words, but of language, or do you have a specific description and definition for faith in this case?
Well, I think connection is more important. Faith has a connotation of religion
Hmm.
that it doesn't need to.
Right, right.
It doesn't mean that religion doesn't connect to faith in the same way that someone who thinks of faith as something outside or akin to religion, but outside religion can feel. Um, I hope I
So
made my point there.
yeah, I think you did, but I would like to understand more the because I usually think about some people use the word hope too. I've seen those words hope, faith, trust. There's surrender too that some people use.
I
Have
think any of those words, if they put you on the right path, they're the right words.
mm, yeah,
Right. I mean, we don't have to, if I understand faith and you understand connection, and it means this connection means the same to you as faith does to me,
right.
then we don't have a problem.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
We don't need to take the same road to get there. We just have to understand that the roads lead this to the same place.
That is so true.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, Mark. Yeah. Well, one of the things that I usually, most of the time, it's more about the feeling, the energy behind the words, or who, the way you say it, how it's just the sound. There's something about the sound and how that kind of touches me or comes to me before even the brain tries to interpret what the words mean exactly. It's the energy behind your voice, the way, or even writing, your writing. There's an energy to it. How is this concept of energy?
Thank you for that, by the way. Thank you for that. I
Oh,
appreciate that.
yeah. Well, thank you, the universe. Thank you to
Hmm.
life itself for being so amazing that we can have all these types of almost like skills, right? So many skills that we can be aware of and develop them. Like I love the energetic because it
Absolutely.
has been the way that I navigate this reality. So is that something that fits within the book, the themes too, energetic exchange and frequencies and all that vibration?
I think that when you try to communicate with someone and you use words, you have to be careful that you're not painting a picture that they won't see.
Ah, yeah.
So you have to use brush strokes that are recognizable.
Yeah.
And within those recognizable strokes, find your own style.
Mm,
And therefore be able to communicate in because if you can't communicate to another person, it's not going to mean anything.
mm,
So you have to, it's not only how you want to communicate, it's how do you take your communicative skills and have them adhere to someone else and the way they receive those
yes.
thoughts. Now you can't always tell, and you can't. I mean, I can't meet every reader before they read the book. So therefore, you try to find words that will universally put forth the ideas you're trying to exchange.
Mm. Yes, it's a beautiful skill though. Language, it's incredibly beautiful. I
It's so
love,
important.
yeah, and it's
It's just
beautiful
so
too.
important, and I hate to say it, but it's getting lost with a certain percentage of the society, and it's a shame. Not it's a
Mm.
shame for all of us, but it's a shame for them specifically because they're missing out.
Right. Can you talk to me? a little bit more about that? I'm not aware of who is not engaging
Well,
with, yeah, language.
well, you and I, we connect. It's immediate. We don't have to discover anything about each other. But I don't
Right.
think that's true of everybody. Some people need to be communicated directly to in a way that
Mm,
they embrace.
that's
And
true.
they may not, the way I speak or the way I conduct myself, they may not embrace that. So I have to make sure that the words are universal and
Ah,
create a picture that
yeah.
hopefully most people will be able to see and
Mm,
and feel they're a part of, because
mm,
this is the human condition, and whether you like it or not, you're one of us.
yes. Wow. I'm wondering if there's a way of, you probably have heard about that, trying to please everyone, trying to make everyone happy. That's something that's not realistic. So,
It's a losing proposition, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, you have to be you, and you will
Mm,
bring whoever you bring to the party.
right.
And
Yeah.
but if it's not your party, it's not going to be, I mean, for you, it's not going to be worth anything, because you won't be sharing anything that's singular, anything that's individualistic. So I think that you can't worry about, you communicate as best you can. You can't
Mhm.
worry about who you can't reach. You have to
Right.
reach who you can.
That's it. Yeah. Beautifully said. Yeah. That's very beautiful. Yeah. And that's clear. And I really feel that way because I do. I mean, it's my own experience too. I do exactly what I want to do. And I'm not really, yeah. I mean, I know some people, most people relate to this work as positive, as uplifting, it's beautiful and spiritual and all those things. But it is the intention, it is here, of course, has been always there, my own healing, my own spiritual evolution. But I never had the intention of kind of reaching certain people, oh, millions of people and becoming this. Oh, that was never in my mind. No, no, no,
But
no,
it
no.
happened.
Isn't it funny? Yeah, without, I guess that's what we have to. I mean, that's my own experience. Just go by what feels right to you, like in your own heart, what feels true to you, what's really the truest expression of your being. That's what I go by. And that's not easy to uncover, right, Mark? It's not.
It's not but first of all, that's where faith comes in. You have
Right.
to have faith that you have reached a point where you are comfortable with who you
Mm,
are,
yeah.
and feel like you can express it without any compunction about what that other person is going to say. You mentioned, wanting to please other people.
Yeah.
Pleasing other people, first of all, pleasing other people doesn't help you,
Right. Right.
because it puts you on a search to figure out what will please them. That's no
Mm,
journey for you.
mm,
And it's
mm,
not good for them either, because you're just placating them and telling them what they want to hear, just so you can strike up a conversation.
right.
I think we're better off being exactly who we are on this journey to be, who we've decided, who
Mm,
we've chosen to be, and
mm.
share that, and grab with that whoever we can.
That's it. Yeah, that's what you've been doing, which is beautiful and very courageous too. In no perfection, my Mark. No try, because a lot of us are kind of afraid to engage with our truest kind of expression because we kind of are afraid to fail and we don't want. I mean, it's just so, and it's part of the human condition too, isn't it? We are meant to be social beings. We love being around people, so we want to
Absolutely.
be
Yeah.
accepted by the collective.
But being accepted for who you are is different than changing who
Mm,
you are to be accepted.
right, right, yeah. Ah,
If you
beautifully
change who
said.
you are to be accepted, then you don't really have much to offer.
Yes, that's
But
it.
but you're right to have faith, that to follow wherever this life takes you, and have faith in the
Mm,
way you're seeing what's in front of you. And obviously, you've done well, journeying that way. I've been very fortunate. Now, people would say, "Well, you're not a star. You're not there. You're not that." I don't think about what I'm not. I'm
right.
grateful for what I have, and you know, with a good outlook, comes a good life. You may
Right.
not get all the things you want, but if you
Mm,
put the things you want aside, you will get what you need,
mm,
because all you will need is to be you, and you're happy. So, I feel that when you your DNA and the environmental input that you get through your life makes you, or allows you to be a happy person, I don't think
mm,
anything ever changes that once you've gotten there.
so true. Wow. It sounds very spiritual. Some of I mean, pretty much everything you say. So I'm wondering if do you have this spiritual background? I'd love to know what that was, spiritual
Well, I
studies.
mean, first of all, my one of the things I did when I was in my early 30s was I took a martial art. I took ninjutsu. I
Yeah.
was in New York City for a very long time. I studied ninjutsu for very seriously for about 3.5 years, maybe 12 hours a week.
Wow.
And that was a very enlightening experience.
Mm,
There were things that happened there that I couldn't explain. And that's beside the training itself, which still to this day, all these years later, serves me. My understanding of center of gravity, body
mm,
balance, the way you
mm,
carry yourself, the way you move.
mm.
That's and you're and one of the most important things that nobody talks about, which is breathing. And no one ever talks about breathing, the most important skill
Yeah.
that you have or that you need. And so this is very interesting. I always thought that, when people get older, they start to fall, they lose their
Yeah.
balance, and part of that is their breathing technique. Because if you start to stumble, for instance, and you continue to breathe normally, you will probably catch yourself,
Yeah.
or you will not fall. Or if you fall, will fall in a way that won't hurt you as badly. And so this has always been in me, this breathing technique, and we should teach people to breathe better, because people go in for MRIs and I've talked to the doctors. They say, I tell the person to breathe, they can't hold their breath for 5 seconds.
Right.
That's something to me that's unbelievable. But also
Right.
because my background in singing was I learned
Wow.
breathing through that.
Mm,
But I always thought that. So when I was writing the story Pride and Pluto, which is about this kid, Pluto Mackenzie is his name, and it's a story basically. I won't go into it, but it's a story basically about excessive pride and the damage that does. But he's a person who is a trainer. The main Pluto Mackenzie is a trainer, and I was able to put this thought of this breathing for better balance in the
yeah.
story. I was able
Um,
to kind of hide it, that this trainer opens up a gym. And one of the things he does with the gym is he buses these senior citizens in twice a week to teach them better breathing for better balance. So,
nice.
when I was able to, and I could see you're smiling, because when you have ideas like that, and then you're able to put it into something, now it's hidden within the journey of the character in the story because it's storytelling, but I
Right.
still was able to get my thought in, my belief in. And that was very exciting.
It sounds like, it feels like, I'm a feeling being. Yes, it feels like it. So it's coming from that. You've been using the word balance, so that makes sense too. Because life, nature, you see, it always goes back to balance. It's something that it's always returning to, and we are not apart from nature. Humans are nature itself. So that makes sense. The martial arts would teach us always go back to balance, and that will realign the entire being, all parts of
And
our.
once you put that information in, and when you train, you do it over and over again until it becomes instinctual, right? So once it's in there, it's in there. So even though you even stop training in martial arts, your thought process and how you approach your life stays within the confines of what you've learned.
Right.
And what you've learned is that this world is bigger than you think,
Mm.
it's bigger than you know, and that's a good thing. That's an
Yeah.
enlightening thing to
Yeah.
understand that. I mean, if we knew everything, it wouldn't be much of a
Mm.
life. It is the fact that life is more than we know that makes it so exciting.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I mean, we could go into this and talk about this for an hour and a half.
That's true. That's a topic in itself. I wanted to show the cover of your book, and I want to ask you all the
Thank
questions.
you.
So yeah, they'll be there before too.
There you
So
go.
I have so many questions for you already out of my own curiosity, but let me go back to my guided questions. So as to
Okay.
yeah, within the book. So the 9 stories we already talked about. Has anything changed? Oh yeah, has anything changed since you have written the novel that has affected your point of view or the way that made you think differently what you wrote in the book? That's one of the questions.
Okay. When it comes to the 9 stories, no, because the 9 stories are character driven. They're universal. But
Yeah.
the first chapter, where I share my own beliefs, one of the things I talk about is society handles its problems for the most part by using band aids. They don't truly solve the problems, but they put, and you can understand why in a lot of cases, like world hunger, you can understand why they put band-aids, because solving the problem is beyond, almost beyond us, or might be beyond us at this
Yeah.
point, at least for now.
I
So
know.
we place band-aids on all these things, and I used an example of the transgender community. And what I said was that I don't want to speak for the transgender community, but I don't think that their wish list starts with their own bathroom. So
Mm.
I wrote this a year ago.
Yes.
And what I said about it was that what it really boils down to is equality, acceptance, respect.
Mm. Yeah.
That's truly where the answers to the problem are. So I say, if we respect and accept each other, then maybe we can solve all these other problems. But to start with the bathroom is silly, and I don't think that that's where the transgender community would start. So now, all of a sudden, everything's about transgender and bathrooms.
Yes. All right.
So here I am going, what did you do? What did you say? Because society is now saying it is about the bathroom. But the truth is, it's not.
Mm.
Even though I had to think about it and go, ooh, that's interesting. I wrote that. And now this is kind of, it's not against it, but it's kind of rubbing on it. It's rubbing on my idea in an uncomfortable way. But
Yeah.
I must say, to end this part of this question, that I still feel the same way,
Mm.
regardless of what's being said, that the answer is not a bathroom. The answer is equality, acceptance, and respect, and
Mm.
figuring everything out from there.
Mm.
So that is something that I had to revisit, at least after I had written about it.
Ah. And then you wouldn't change anyway, right, Mark? At this point, you wouldn't.
No, no,
Right.
I like I said, I still feel that I think that writing it today, I may have had a little bit of a tougher time, because I may have said, "Oh, Mark, that's all they're talking about is the bathroom," and now you're saying it's not about the bathroom.
Right.
But but my belief is the same. So I
Mm.
don't think I would have changed anything.
Mm. Yes, and I am with you, a billion percent. Yes, it's
Thank you.
changing here the way we approach life, seeing one another. That goes back to respect. I remember interviewing somebody here who said, if you, the least that we can treat each other with dignity is to respect one another. And then he said, and then if we cannot do that, let's go with kindness. And then if we cannot do kindness, then we go with acceptance. So he kept going like one level after another, but it
Right,
starts with
right.
respect. That's like the basic, respect would
Yeah.
be the basic.
And I think that all those issues are on the basically the same level. They're
Right.
all necessary. First of all, if you don't accept someone, you don't respect them. right?
Mm,
If you don't accept
mm,
someone,
mm.
you don't treat them the same way as you treat people that you do respect. So
Right.
they all kind of go hand in hand. Um,
They do.
it, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, you can conclude. You're about to finish your thought. Yes. Yeah.
I, I just believe that we know the way. We know the way to get these things accomplished. But we battle ourselves all down the line, and sometimes it's frustrating. But then, like we were talking about before, even if you don't solve anything,
Right. Right.
the attempt, the continued attempt, will
Yes.
hopefully one day lead to the solution,
Yes.
even if you're
Yes.
not around to see it.
That's it, Mark. And we can only be responsible for ourselves, right, Mark? Too. We cannot
That's right.
impose that on others, yeah, for them to change, as we talked before. So this is yeah, it goes back to that over and over again. It's so fascinating. I mean, I'm just incredibly interested in these topics, having conversations about this because it's a reminder for myself too to go back to me and changing here and not expecting the change to be out there. So that's very, very important as a reminder. So thank you. That too, for myself.
Very frustrating to try to change someone else, right?
Yeah, it is. I have tried. Yeah, I know. I know from experience.
And you should keep trying. It's okay. To
Is it?
attempt and fail in that is all right. You still make the effort.
Right. I think it depends on the intention, right? If it's not trying to control, manipulate,
Right.
then if you have the right intention, it's okay. Yes, I agree.
And you
So
have to
going back,
know your intention, right?
mm,
You have to, I mean,
yeah,
not everybody understands themselves. So if you
right,
don't understand yourself, you don't
right.
understand the choices you make, you don't understand the opinions you have, then
Mm,
it's very difficult to move forward. But I
yeah.
still believe, as you do, that we can reach each other and we can move forward together.
Yes, yeah, yes. That sounds very. I mean, it is happening already. I think a lot of times we think of. We say that. I hear that all the time. I don't watch the news or read newspapers or anything like that, but I hear
Right.
some people saying, "Oh, the world's so chaotic. Oh my God, and this and that." Um, I don't know, but I still see as there's a design, some sort of order, like underneath it all. It's still working. It's still moving forward, and it's still kind of doing its own dance. It feels almost like this movement, this like life is a song, and everything else is just the dance, dancing to it. That's what it feels to me.
Well,
But
I guarantee you, if you went back to the year 1720,
uh, yeah,
you would see chaos there too.
yeah,
There's always chaos somewhere in the world. And sometimes chaos is the precursor to movement,
right.
because chaos means that there's uncertainty and that there's unhappiness.
Mm,
And as difficult as that is when you're going through it, it is a proponent for momentum. So I, I would hope that just like in the past, there have been chaotic moments that have led to some sort of movement forward. We can
yes,
only
yes.
hope.
Yes, 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 yes. It really. I mean, we can see that in history, right? There's the most chaotic times has led to something else that was more evolved, perhaps more refined, more
Right.
intelligent. So, and sometimes not, right? Like I still see like we are technologically advanced, but so let's say so uninvolved and so unsophisticated in so many other ways. Like going back to what you mentioned about the seven, the deadly sins, right? The
Right.
anger, envy, all that. That's so. It's. I mean, it feels to me so unsophisticated, but it's still there.
It's
It's never.
Yeah, it
It's
still
never
holds
going away.
true. Absolutely. Pride. When I wrote about pride, I wrote that pride is no longer considered a deadly sin,
Ah, yeah.
right? Pride is acceptable. Self promotion, self aggrandizement, it's all acceptable now. There is no, I mean, we used to get a bad taste in our mouths when we would see somebody go over the top talking about themselves. It was uncomfortable.
Right.
Now it seems to be the way of the world.
Right.
And also, and this is unfortunately, well, fortunately, everyone has a microphone, and unfortunately, everybody has a microphone.
Yes.
When we were listening to three people tell us about the news in the past, 50
Yeah.
years ago, there were three people. That was it. And
Yeah.
two guys who would have a talking point, once a night. And
Yeah.
they told us, it was Cronkite and Everett Sever, and everybody believed them. And
Right.
they reported on the news.
Right.
Now there's 450,000 people with a viewpoint who
Yeah.
were able to get it out there, and there is no way to sift through it, and most people don't have the wherewithal to know what's wrong and what's right, what's true and what's false.
Yeah. It's confusing.
And we're going to have to dig ourselves out of that, and I think we will.
Yeah. What's the way out of that? I have some ideas here, Mark, but what
Yeah,
are
I'm
yours?
glad you do, because I can't help you.
Oh, no. Well, you said it before. It's about us, right? We need to kind of go. It's what
Yeah,
other.
you put me on that line. I'll follow you down. Don't worry about that.
Yes, but it's so true about the confusions, too many things, and maybe that's the reason why I also don't listen to too many what's out
I
there.
agree.
I do my thing. I just
I
stay
agree.
within my own
Yeah, yeah.
world.
But you also have to know what everybody else is listening to, so you know how to reach them, or at least have some more information on how to
Yes,
reach them.
I have my team.
It,
They
look,
do
this
that.
is
Yeah.
this is difficult, and we stab at it. We do the best we can, and it's like you say, we make the contribution, and we can't decide how much we are going to be able to do or change in this world. We can play our part and see what happens. But always, like you say, you do have to have faith and hope that we are moving in the right direction.
Yes.
Look,
Yes.
I wouldn't have written a book that taught, even though a lot of what I write about, because you have to write about characters that
Yeah.
find trouble.
Yeah.
If your characters don't find trouble or don't cause themselves trouble, there's nothing to learn and
I don't-
nothing to share with your readers.
Yeah.
So, all that's important. But even given that in all these stories, there are people that make terrible, egotistical, selfish decisions that lead to bad consequences, what ends up happening is the point is made that either they dig themselves out and reach a better place, or they can't dig themselves out and they pay the price.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you are able to, you don't have to, you can have faith that people will be able to see the point you're trying to make. And I truly believe that, none of that has gone anywhere. That people, when they read about these situations, even when they read the news and they see somebody that's done something, their perspective still allows them to understand good and evil, right and wrong.
Mm.
How they apply it, that's a whole different story. But I think there's enough out there that if we make the effort, there is an audience for us. There are people that want to get there, and
Right.
uh, and we're just part of it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. I love your not just perspective, your perception, yeah, behind all this storytelling, also your own life. I mean, it's just so it's I have to use the word spiritual. That's what wisdom is one word I can say, I can use, but also it sounds very spiritual, very connected to universal wisdom, I would say. So
Well, I,
thank you.
I appreciate the word wisdom. I accept the spiritual because that's my choice, and I've done that.
Yeah.
The wisdom I'll leave to you.
Uh, yeah, thank you. I'll be the one to decide. Yes, that is
Yes,
very
you
wise.
are the one to decide.
Yes, I'm just kidding, but yeah, yeah, that it sounds
Yeah,
very
me
wise
too.
to me. So yeah, I'm curious about if you are planning to write a nonfiction book.
Okay. I am not planning on writing a nonfiction book as it stands now. One is I have two things that I'm working on. One is the follow-up book to "The Past
Mm,
Captures Us Forever," which is another 9 stories called and the book's title is "As the Future Becomes the Past."
uh,
In the
yeah,
first book, the concept allows the agents that are chosen to select the stories in the future are given the opportunity to select up to 5 years during that 20-year period, which
yeah,
set up the possibility for a follow-up book where we go back and pick 9 additional stories that were chosen by those 9 agents. So that's
right,
one possibility.
right,
Nonfiction I would write if the idea was strong enough and it came to me. And this is
right.
what I would say about that. You know how much it takes to write a book and how
Yes,
much effort it takes. So
yeah,
the idea that sets you on that line has to be strong, because if you don't, like this book, when I got the title and I started to get I knew it was strong enough to dedicate my time to. How good it would be or whatever, I didn't worry about that, but I knew that it was strong enough for me to dedicate my time to it. If I had a subject of nonfiction that struck me like that way, I would definitely dedicate myself to it. But for the time being, I have the follow-up book, like I said, and I
mm,
also have, if you don't mind my mentioning it,
yeah.
I wrote a musical,
Oh,
book, music, and lyrics, and I was thinking one of the next things I might do is try to create a staged reading. Maybe
oh,
go to connect with a university and
yeah,
um, and uh, and do a stage reading. The writing and the recording of my demo for my musical was a great experience. I got to work with many of the Broadway performers from The Lion King at the time, and one of the women, the woman that did the solos for me, Darlene Love, is a
mm,
well-known singer. She's actually in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I learned a lot working with her, which is why I mention her.
yeah,
But that's also something that I think is worthwhile that I may dedicate some time to. But nonfiction, I, I I would leave that to the historians, I think, unless something really important. Look, if something came to me and I went, I really have something to say about this, I would
right.
do it. But if I don't have something to say about it, I'll keep quiet.
Oh, you have so much to say. You're very humble, but yeah, it's a good
Yes, too much. Some people would say too much, but let them talk.
right. No, I love creativity, the imagination behind it. That's another spiritual. It's part of spirituality, imagination. That's another one. Lucid
It
dreaming.
certainly is.
Yeah.
It's
So
it. You are absolutely tapping in to something that exists,
mm,
that's there without you,
yes,
but
yes,
hands it over to you when you connect with it.
that's it.
I'll tell you a very quick story about writing a lyric.
Yeah.
I had been writing for 11 months on this project every day. And I had a big screen television and the Yankee World Series game was on.
Yeah.
And I was literally 5 feet from the screen, and it was a giant screen.
Hmm.
And I'd been working on this lyric and towards the end of the show. And while this was blaring in my ear, without lifting my pen, I wrote this lyric. I never changed it. I never changed a word. And I never heard a sound from that World Series game. I just looked up and realized that it had been happening in my ear at a volume that I should not have been able to work at. And yet it was so clear.
Yeah.
That wasn't just my ability.
Mm.
That was me tapping into somebody at something and being rewarded
Yeah.
for it by being handed something that I would find valuable, which was that particular lyric at that particular time. And also the understanding of how incredibly intense a human being's concentration can get when it's placed in the right place.
Right. Yes. We become a channel, yeah, for universal communication,
Yes.
universal messages. And yeah,
So
it's just,
therefore, I don't have to take a lot of credit for anything.
yes.
It's not important to take credit. What's important is to understand what you've been through and to appreciate and be grateful for the connection.
That's it, Mark. That's, I mean, that's even beyond words when I just start to think about it. I remember interviewing somebody who said she was also a reporter, journalist, and she said that she asked a lot of people about like these very talented artists, incredibly talented people, musicians, all kinds of artists. And how did you come up with this? And then the answer would be always the same. I didn't do it. It just came to me. It
Right.
was through me.
Right.
Isn't that
But you also
incredible?
have, and the other side of that is, and in my acknowledgments, I thank a few people, and I thank a few people properly, and then I thank a few people saying that unbeknownst to them, they taught me something either about myself or about being a professional. And there was one this man Louis Salemno who I met when I was just going into high school, and he had graduated high school the year before I went into this high school, and he was a pianist composer. He ended up directing operas, I think, all over the world. But anyway, he was the most talented person I'd met up until that point. And I walked into the choir room, and he was playing piano, and he was 3 years older than I am, as a 10th grader. He's playing Rhapsody in Blue on the piano. It was incredible. I had never heard anybody play piano that well live. And
Mm,
afterwards, I went up, we talked, I introduced myself, and I asked him where he was going. And he said, "I'm going to Curtis Institute," which is one of the greatest musical schools in the world.
wow.
And I said to him, "For piano?" And he looked at me like I had grown another head. And he said, "No, I'm not going for piano. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough." And
Wow.
as a 10th grader, I went through that experience. I never forgot it because I realized this man understood that there are levels beyond what I can see, levels
Mm,
of talent, levels of contribution,
yeah.
and levels of connection. He was
Mm,
so connected to his own talent that he understood that even though I thought he was the greatest pianist I ever heard, he knew he wasn't good enough. And that taught me something about what to expect from myself.
mm. Wow, that's a good story too. Yeah, do you call it humility? I mean, it seems like you call it self knowledge, just knowing your own, knowing your
I
being.
don't mind being humbled, by the way, by somebody else's ability.
Right.
I find anyone who
Mm,
shows, for instance, I don't have to be Paul McCartney or John Lennon or Ringo Starr or George Harrison. I don't have to be a Beatle to appreciate that there was something given to those four
mm.
that just wasn't given to anybody else.
Right. Right. That's right.
They were gifted by
Yes.
who? By something. Whether you believe that's God, the creator, whether you believe it's the energy of the world, it's all the same thing.
Right.
But it's not, being jealous of them is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Understand, being in wonder of the
Mm,
fact that this can exist, that
mm.
there's so much out there that's beyond what we see. And every once in a while, the Beatles
Mm.
aren't the only example, believe
Oh,
me,
no.
but they're
Yes.
one of a very few.
Yes.
And they're meant to show us that something exists beyond us. And every once in a while, it touches one of us to show us that it's there.
Right. Uh, I hear again. I hear wisdom there too. Yeah, that's. I feel inspired though every time I'm in touch, in contact with creativity at this level, like a higher level. Like, oh my God, it's just shows to me like that what's possible, like how wonderful, mysterious, and wonderful the universe, this life is. And I've become very inspired though. That's the thing about jealousy, and I think envy, right, is the name of the deadly sin that most people that's the quite
Envy.
of the opposite of becoming inspired. Yeah, when we are envious instead of inspired, it's just
They're
yeah,
all traps. They're
right,
traps.
right,
There's nothing to be gained by being envious.
right,
You gain nothing.
right.
And you gain so much by recognizing someone else's worth.
Mm, yeah,
So to be envious of
yeah.
what someone else's worth is counterproductive. Their
Uh,
worth is contributing to your world.
right. That's it.
Just go do something else. Let them do what they do. Don't
Uh,
worry about it.
yeah, that's it.
Don't worry about what I love people that worry about what everybody else has.
Yeah.
They if you were them, everybody thinks that, if they were Elon Musk, they'd go, oh, look how much money I have. He's not thinking about how much money he has. He's got bigger problems than money.
Mm. I can imagine.
His mind has to be working on, sending a rocket ship to Mars.
Yes.
So, what are you going to be envious that he has money? You're going to project what he feels having all that money? You don't know what he feels.
Yes. Yeah.
Somebody in that position isn't thinking what you're thinking. They're thinking
Yeah.
about something else.
Right.
So
Right.
let
It's
them be, and you do something. You
right.
contribute.
That's it. That's what to me, that's the work that needs to be done. I mean, needs to be done from the perspective of evolution, human evolution. But like you said, we have been talking throughout the conversation. We cannot force the process and impose any of these changes. But it is sad. I have to say, Mark, yeah, I become sad when I see displays in myself too, of course, when I see that. Not envy though. This is something I don't have. Anger. I used to be angry, not anymore. Um, yeah, I know there are seven
Well,
of
that's a,
them.
that's a nice little leap to make, to go from being angry to not being angry. That's not an easy, you know, not an
Yeah,
easy place to get to. I think that
yeah,
you have to question yourself. If you don't,
mm,
if I mean, anger is an easy thing to see in yourself.
right,
I mean,
right,
your
right.
face is getting red, your eyes are getting bulgy, or you're yelling and screaming. So knowing that you've become angry is an easy thing to
Right.
designate. So but what the people don't do is they don't take the next step, which is, oh, I shouldn't be angry. Let me stop this and let's find a better way.
Right.
And so you have to be willing to question yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
Blaming other people doesn't help, or looking at other people doesn't help you. And
No.
believe me, their life is not what you think it is. They're
Mm,
struggling with a lot of the things you're struggling with.
yeah.
So just look to your own path. And look, I wrote this book. I I don't I don't worry about all the people that will never read it. I can't worry about that.
Right.
All I
Right.
can do is have a purpose, complete that purpose, get it out there, and hope for the best. But
Mm,
either way, I've done my job.
right.
I've shared what I needed to share.
Right.
So that's why envy. Should I be envious of James Patterson because everything he writes is going to be a bestseller?
Right.
I admire him.
Yeah.
I admire people like that because they don't have to work and they do.
Yes.
So I'm not going to worry about how successful those people are
Right.
compared to myself. I'm
Yeah.
successful enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm not going to question any of that. But I think people have a problem with it. They have a problem with other people doing well and judging themselves by that standard.
I know. Yeah. It's a sad thing. Yeah. It's sad and real. And then that I still, and that's funny when you have done the work yourself, that you have transformed and transmuted all those energies, then you see people doing still like living in that space of
Yeah.
jealousy, envy, anger, and all those things. Then well, to me it's like humility comes in, and that's also wisdom. And then I'm like, how can I teach them somehow? Maybe maybe I can somehow pass this on to them, that that's possible to
You
change.
have to try.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
who you are. That's
Right.
what you do. That's your purpose, is to try to enlighten or
Mm,
be enlightened as far as you can be, so
right.
that your light may hit somebody else.
Right. That's it. Yeah. That's the only work that we can do. Absolutely. In
That's
whatever
right.
it stands for us. Yes. So it has been wonderful to be in your presence and to talk about
Oh,
your book and everything else in between. We are almost at the end. I want to mention your website is marktillinger.com. I hope I pronounced it
that's
correctly, but it'll be
correct.
clickable on the podcast notes.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And also,
so,
obviously, the book is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all kinds of places. But um, and certainly, look, I did this to share my thoughts, and I do hope that
um,
people, whoever, someone,
mm,
anyone,
mm.
gets something out of what I've done, because reaching someone was the point that I did it.
Right. And I have to say, yes. So all those links will be on the podcast notes. Those
Okay.
it will be clickable. The Amazon link, your website, and all the places that your book can be found. But I have to say that I really love the cover of your book, the title and the cover, and those are very important when it comes to resonance with people. I
Hmm.
usually, you usually say, "Oh, people don't buy the book by its cover." Yes, they do.
They
A
do.
lot of
Yeah.
people, yeah,
Yeah.
right. They look at the title and the
Yeah.
cover. That's what they go by at first. It's almost like a relationship. When you meet somebody, you have that impression, and then so that matters. And you did a great
Yeah.
job with that. Beautiful job.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
captured me.
I'm very happy with it. It says what I wanted it to say.
Right. Yeah. It feels very much that way. It delivers. Yeah. What it was. It's really well done. So, would you like
Thank you.
to? How would you like to end the interview, Mark? Would you like to read a passage in your book? Any final thoughts? Anything that you left unsaid?
You know what? You know what? If you don't mind, I'll read one
Yeah.
paragraph.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is from, excuse me, this is from the story that's called Forged and Framed.
Yes, I
Um,
see.
now, Now, the interesting thing, now, this is a couple of stories. So I started with the title, and was able to, The Murderer's Pit. I had the title first. And Forged and Framed, I had the title first. And what was interesting about that was both the words forged and the word framed are both double entendres. They
Right.
both have two meanings. Framed can be something framed in a frame,
Right.
or you've been framed for something you didn't do.
Right. Right.
Forged can be you've forged something in stone, you've written something in stone, let's say,
Right.
or you've forged someone's name
Mm,
so that they are convicted of something they didn't do. So
right.
both those words are double entendres, and I used both the meanings of both those words as the anchor for the story.
Wow.
So both the meanings of both those words are directly related to the story that I wrote about it. So it was just an interesting side note. And this is the
Thank you.
opening paragraph of Forged and Framed. Now, Forged and Framed is from the year 2082 to 2102. Okay, and it's story number 4. Controlling the future of energy is a frightening business. Threatening those who believe they control the future is folly. And this is the opening paragraph.
Right.
18 names inscribed in stone, framed by framed by roses and lilacs on 4 sides, created a fitting monument for the men, women, and children whose deaths it was meant to honor. All who passed by, paying respect to this commemoration in the gardens fronting the headquarters of the Sunburst Solar Energy Company, believed its origin story. They believed what they had been told. They believed the cautionary tale that surrounded this well known national tragedy and had adopted it as their own. 18 names were forged and framed so we would never forget.
Wow. I am in love
Oh,
with the, I mean, the poetic also flow of your writing. It's very poetic. It's deep. It's
thank you.
poetic. It's wise. It's spiritual. So, and this is something that I expected very much from the cover to the title, and also reading your bio. That was very clear to me.
Hmm.
Like, oh, this is a soul treat. This is a
Oh.
treat. Great. So
Well, thank you
thank
for
you so
giving me the
much.
opportunity to, not only talk about my book, but talk about the spiritual road, which is very important to me. And without it, I never would have had enough in me to write this book. I wouldn't have. The soul searching through
Mm,
life is what allows you to have something to say later on.
mm,
So
mm.
I'm grateful for all of it, and I know you are as well.
Oh, I am. Thank you for saying that too. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah,
And
namaste.
thank you.
So we'll be
Namaste.
in touch again, and thank you so much, Mark, for your
I
presence in
hope
this
so.
world. And I would love to be
It
in
was
touch.
very
Yeah,
nice talking to you, Valerio. You take
yeah.
care of yourself.
You
All
too,
right.
Mark. Thank you. Bye for now, my
Okay.
dear.
Bye bye.